53rd film in our little series Pattern of the Month. And we're right in the middle of one of the trickiest salmon seasons ever, or probably the trickiest one. Norwegian authorities closed some of the rivers. They don't do anything about the problem, which is fish farming. And we are very critical to this fact and doing a little special film just around that. And I hope you will join us in the fight for the wild fish. Okay, 53rd film, and I'm just back from a trip that actually gave me some good fish. Landing 9 good fish in 6 days. A season like this is good. Okay, so we're gonna tie something different today. We're gonna tie one of those pigs, and we're gonna call one I called Thunder Pig. It's a thunder and lightning colored pig that actually I fish it probably a bit different than most other people. I'll fish them. I prefer them to have them light, like most of my flies, and to fish them on a heavy line, because I believe this is a fly that fishes best quite deep down. I very seldom fish a fly like this right under the surface, and or I never do it. But it can be a very effective fly. I have a few of these in my box on all rivers, every occasion, low water, high water. And it's a fly, or a type of fly, that is very seldom my first choice. It's more my last choice, and it saved many fishing days by being the only thing deep down, especially maybe on a warm river, that will produce a fish. So, and I had a few comments. We've been doing one pig before. There was a guy saying that it was so obvious I did not like this kind of fly. I think maybe I was tired or something, because I love those flies. They have a lot of motion to them, and they are very special. Every fly that is special is good to me. So, okay, enough talk. Let's start tying. Okay, I'm gonna tie today on our fluorescent orange extra small and our fluorescent orange medium tubing. And I'm gonna do quite a good sized fly, I would say medium to Scandinavian standards, but I don't use a tube that is very long. I do here 2 centimeters, and it's because the feelers on a fly like this are so long, and the body should be really short, or quite short. And I start by cutting an angle on the medium, like I do all the time. And this is how I connect the extra small and the medium. And I do it with the thread there. You've seen me do this before. Again today I'm going to use one of our feeler cones. And this is like a little special thing that is made to hold the feelers in the same position. I think it can be very tricky with a fly that doesn't have a wing to steer right and not turn over and start spinning. So I'll put this on, and I slide this on, and I slide it on. Since it's rubber, it's flexible, and I slide it on so I get the back of the medium to be even with the cone a little more there. I use the medium in there to fix my hook, and I use this to hold the material in the good position. So putting that on, I will start by using a bit of thread here, and I fix my connection between the tubing with a little bit of thread, and this thread here will pull the medium to hold the extra small. Quite simple thing. And then I work back and I walk up on this little edge we have on our feeler cones, and I've had quite a few people asking when we will release those on the market, and there are so many new things coming, but hopefully we'll have the feeler cones on the market for this tying season that will start in September, October or so. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna tie on, and it looks a bit different. And then to do feelers, I use Cox hackles, and you can do it different ways. You can take any cock hackle and you can strip them ready, and you can dye them afterwards. But you can also do like I've been doing this time. Actually, this is a fly can be tied with a lot of different materials and in different ways, and I'm gonna say many times that you can do this and you can do that, and maybe it's because I'm not sure what's best. My box have a little bit of everything, but you can do it like this too. You strip off the fibers, and you have to be a bit careful taking a little bit at a time when you do this, otherwise it will be too brittle afterwards. So I just take about 1 centimeter and I strip it off like this. And what's happening when I do this is that I also strip away a bit of the dyeing. So I will have a feather that will be partly white. But on these pigs with these feelers, you see, I have to be careful so I don't take away too much. I think it's pretty nice to have that little white part. Coming up to almost the point here, I will do like a little paddle. And it's easy, I think, to cut the paddle too small. I want it quite big. And the reason I call this paddle is that this will stand out and the water will move this and get the vibrations on this. And then if the paddle is too small, you need harder current to move it. Okay, so just cleaning this a little bit, and I start by tying those in. And how long should I have those now? Well, I would say they would be, if they're twice the length of the fly, it's about right. And I put one of them in this little place in the feeler cone and cut it off. And this way, prepared a few here. This way, when I do it this way, I will have I'll be sure that they will not drop back and move and create the fly that's not balanced. And I think it's quite important to have 4 of them in different places to be sure the fly will fish the way I want it. And see, this is sliding a little bit. I will secure it, make sure it's in that little track. I can then move this over so I'm sure I'm doing this in the best way. The thread needs to be close to the actual track in the cone to create to be sure that this is sitting in the right way. And that looks okay, I think. Of course you can do this with shorter feelers to get smaller flies. But again, I think this is a fly that should have long feelers and a short body. Okay, 4 feelers. And you can see how the orange is stripped away and I get a bit of white here, which makes them seen better too. So maybe it's better, maybe not. I have both. Okay, so we're now gonna add a little more feelers here, and I'm gonna use wild boar. And it's good now since we started to sell this stuff. I'm gonna use 2 different colors. I have an orange one that is dyed, and or a natural one that's dyed orange. And what happens when you do that is that you will get only part of the color from the dyeing, and the material will not be super orange. And I use the ones that are divided, and you can see it's on wild boar. It's like this, that there's only a certain amount of these hair that is actually have the split tips, and I prefer the split tips here. I try to spread this and do a few at a time, and since they are, you can see how they move, it's because they're so stiff. And it's easy tying those. You just turn the fly. This needs a little extra here. Don't have to be very careful with thread because of the heavy body that I'm gonna put on. Doing a couple more of those, and then you see here I have some that is not split. I'm not gonna use that. I'm gonna use the ones with the split tips, and I tie them in, not curving down, I tie them in curved up like this. Spread them out and tie them in. And just to create a lot of vibrations, I will put on also some more. This is looking fairly good. And then now I'm switching over to black. And again, I have some of these. They're fairly stiff. But that's also the point here. And with nice split tips, I'm going to tie them in like half at a time, and adding some black here. Here we go. And to a salmon, vibration and sound are the same. And those of you following knows that I think, and not only me, but people agree on that the most important sense to the fish is not their seeing, it's not smell, but it's their sideline organ. And the sideline organ is what picks up vibrations. And I think this is the reason that flies like this, creating a lot of vibrations, can also be so effective and can create that take when no other flies do. Okay, looking at that, and see, it's quite even, quite long feelers here. And those of you knowing that I now found myself a new favorite material in Nutria. I have a couple of packs here. We added two colors on the Nutria. One orange, we call it orange sapphire because it's the mix of orange and black and the green sapphire. And these fibers, let me show you. These fibers, if you don't like the wall bore, these fibers are super good to use also as feelers on flies like this. I use them mostly for feelers on other shrimp fly, but the thing with these is that they have a very narrow base and get thicker, so they create a lot of vibrations. But you can see they're a lot softer than the pigs, the wild boar feelers are. So I use them on the smaller flies, but not on big flies like this. But good material. Okay, well, it's not the best looking fly so far, but it is different and it's supposed to be different. And now I would like to add a little bit of motion to this. And another of my favorite materials is our small ostrich feathers. Those of you trying to buy an ostrich, and we've been out of a lot of colors sometime, they will soon be here now again. Okay, so I'll use this feather as any other hackle. I will just strip a little bit to make room for my plier or my hands. But I'll open this to create a little triangle. I want one more fiber there. This is the problem when you're a perfectionist, you need to have it right. Okay, so I'll create this little triangle and I move my thread back, all the way back to where I have the filicons, and I tie this in. And there's two things with ostrich. It will create motion, but it will also create a lot of volume. But you have to remember that working with ostrich, the small little see if I can show you on this. The small little fibers like this, they look thick, but getting wet, they be a lot thinner. So for this fly to have volume, it actually needs to be a bit overdressed. So I do this and I double it, meaning I want all the fibers to come one side of the center. And then I tie it in, and I'm gonna do probably 2 turns of this, holding back the part I'm tying in. Don't want this to flip over too much. Doing 1 turn. Make sure this turn is right in the right close to the filicone, and I can move these to be quite tight like that. And it's a problem with a feather that is thick like this, that I need to put quite a bit of tying thread on before I actually let go, otherwise it will move. I did move a little bit, and what I can do is that I can put some tension on this afterwards and a little more thread. Important is that I do it tight to the feeler cone. Move my scissors in, close, and cut it. Having a few going forward like this, they are so soft I can just fold them back and tie them in with a thread too, like that. Looking pretty brutal, I would say, but remember what I said about the volume here. They need to be able to slim down. The length of the materials should be, the paddles here should be the longest. Then like halfway you have the wild boar, and then comes the softer and more mobile ostrich. Okay, so you can do it two ways here. You can put in a body hackle. I'm not going to put a body hackle on this. If it'd be a thunder and lightning, I would keep the orange through the body, but it would be a fly that will be a little bit too orange, I think. So I just tie in that ribbing, and then I'm looking for, see, this is how it is. Just doing one fly, it's too many things. I'm going to use my dubbing, and again, if you do the big flies here, you can use glitz, but actually these this kind of flies, I don't want them too flashy. Quite the opposite. They should be fairly discreet, so I'll use our SSS regular dubbing. And with all dubbings, take that away. I don't tie in too much at the same time. I do a little bit, hold this back here and work the dubbing down. And since I'm gonna build this, I will do the same again. And like all kind of prawn looking flies, I think you should call them that. They should be heavier in the back, so I work my dubbing down again. And then normally I do this like, come on, 3 times or so. And since I never use a pre-wax thread, it's easy to move the dubbing on the thread. Wax is good, makes it easy to put the materials on, but wax melts them on about 50 Celsius, and then you will have a fly that will be destroyed, I think. The wax will pull out the colors from the materials into all the other materials you have on the fly, and if it's tied in with wax, it's not going to stay as good when you take the wax away. So, no wax, never wax, actually. Okay, so I'll keep on doing this. I was going to say that this could be a tribute fly for our ambassador and close friend, Danne Persson Snoddas, whose favorite fly is Thunder and Lightning, and he joined us on our company week last year and had a nice fish on one of these creatures. Okay, so I'll work down this, and you can see how this is getting narrower and narrower. I then take my ribbing and I spin it, and I think it's beautiful to have a material like our hollow braid here that I actually can spin down, and you can do this silver or gold. Most of you would say that should have been gold on the Thunder and Lightning, but I like to have the silver ribbed black body, and looking at classic Thunder and Lightnings. There are quite a few versions that have the silver ribbon. Most of them had both flat and oval tinsel. Okay, instead of cutting this now, I move the thread out a little bit and I twist it back and I back down the thread over. That way I double my ribbing and it won't slip. Okay, so looking quite ugly, I would say, and looking for the brush here, and I think that all bodies that are dubbed should be brushed. And if you look what's happening here, especially when I have a lot of material, this will grow in size, it will become translucent and looking a lot more alive. And the thing you have to think of is that when you brush it as hard as I do, you need to have more material to start with, or it will be too slim. Okay, so this time I decided to first pattern of the month film tie with our jungle cock substitute that is coming out shortly, and there will be many films with this. It's been, I was going to swear here, but it's been quite a tricky project, and I'm so picky, so I want to have a material that is perfect. And we changed a few of the colors, and maybe I can show you this, that we made it very, very fluorescent. So you look at the colors here, you can see how they pick up from the UV lamp. And do you see it there? I think you do. And they are all like this. They are also pre-curved. There are 40 feathers on one of these, and they are 20 to the left and 20 to the right. And they are made in a super strong material. They are also made a lot thinner than most of the jungle cock substitutes on the market. And the reason for that is that I actually hated all these substitutes because they were so stiff, so they were in the way for the wing, so the wing did not work the way it should. These ones, maybe I picked one too small on this big fly, but I don't want the jungle cock to be dominant here. Just a little jungle cock on top here to create a little eye, and I tie them in so they're in front of the end here, the tip, almost to where you have where the ostrich starts, like that. And as you can see, this is now standing out a little bit, and you know, fishing it's good, but when you want it to be looking good already from the start, you can also with this material curve it a little bit over your thumbnail like this, and doing that it will sit a little nicer on the fly, like that. Forming the other one on my thumbnail a little bit like this. And maybe I should say that the shape of those feathers I'm tying with them now are not 100% right, because we formed them a little bit like regular feathers with a little uneven edges on the side. These are still samples, but they'll soon be out and you'll see. Very strong, and again, where's my little lamp? You will see they are extremely UV reflect the light in an extremely nice way. Okay, so I've said that you can use different materials here. Now we're going to put a little hackle on here, cleaning maybe a little here, but I can also do this with different materials. Easiest perhaps is use one of these striped dyed grizzly soft hackles. Really nice, but I was going to today here tie with the original ones, or not really, but should be blue jay, but the blue dyed guinea fowl. Pretty stiff fibers, but here they don't need to add a lot of motion, just need to add a little blue covering up over the black, because I have the motion in the back here when it comes to with the ostrich fibers. Okay, and I tie this in the same way I do with all hackles, doing that little triangle, looking at it, and I will take away a little more. And I will probably not use all of that. Again, as you see, when I tie things, I put the scissors on my fingers and I cut it, and it's I'll be very, very accurate in cutting this. Okay, a few turns, do this, and again, when it's a hard or stiff feather, I prefer to use my fingers, and I hold back the part that's on the piece of feather I'm going to tie in, getting the fibers all the same side, doing one more turn. You can see I will use all of this. And it's always good to take a little bit longer piece than you think you're going to use. Because then you don't have to change the feather. You can just keep on going, or you can quit it. I think this has got nice proportions. I have the feathers reaching to the ostrich, not further back. I have a little bit, the jungle cock's just small eyes, and I think it turned out nicely actually. So ending up with a little cone, and here I will use a black micro turbo. It was not a black micro turbo, this is. And I will just slide it on before I put a little glue on. And as you've seen before, I prefer to put the glue with support, put the glue a little bit away from the materials. Then I hold back and use the thread to pick it up. That way I don't risk to get glue in the guinea fowl. And then I just press this down, pull it down really tight, take the thread away, and not using any knots. Okay, looking at this creature, and it looks brutal, don't you think? But it will slim down quite nice like this in the water. Half of these fibers to disappear and to work in the turbulence created by the feeler cone. This will swim. Cut it off about 3 millimeters, and then hold it up, melt it down, Newton weight, a little bit at a time, doing it right like this, I have a perfect hole. And this I fish with the fixed cone, fixed hook. The hook will go into the medium and stay there. And fishing a fly like this with a loose hook, I don't think it's good, because the hook might tangle around all these long feelers and these things here in the back. And I think you will react like I do when you put one of these on and you hold it down in the water, and you will see how this actually creates a fairly nice looking profile with the paddling moving and the ostrich swimming. Even it doesn't have a wing, it's quite mobile fly. Okay, is it good? What I call a thunder pig. And I have a few of those and a few of the stealth ones in my box all the time. And of course the Patagorva one. Okay, I hope you like the tying, and I hope you, like me, will try this odd looking fly. And I hope that you guys that thought I did not like tying those last time understand that I actually do. It's a different fly, but a different kind of fly that always should be in my box right now. And coming back now from the very north of Norway with some good fish, this also produced takes. Okay, thank you for watching 53rd film. Those of you who like to fish them, we have our pad and our fly of the month packs. Those of you who want to tie them, we have our pattern of the month material packs too. And if you have most, you will find most of these materials also in our new SNS series of natural materials. So again, thank you very much, and we'll be back in a month. And maybe I should also excuse that we are a little late with a couple of last couple of films. It's because of we have so many projects going on, and also there are days to be fished, and now we need more days since the fishing is pretty tricky. But from now on, I think we'll be back on first Thursday each month, and you can check it out and find us there on YouTube and our web. Okay, thank you.